Potion Masters, Chapter 26. Baudry stood frozen, a thick shield of ice encapsulating him. His arm was still outstretched, reaching for Gordy, but he was unable to move an inch. The only parts of his body not solidified were his head and his left hand just below his wrist. Along the floor, streaks of clear ice splayed out from the mummy's feet like strands of a frozen spider web. Baudry's fingers wiggled feverishly as though he was pounding the keys of an invisible piano, and his one eye flitted back and forth between Gordy and Max as the boys sidestepped around the table out of range. "That was awesome!" Max held his hand against his chest, breathing hard. "What do you call that? Ice ball?" "I don't know," Gordy shrugged. "I just made it up. I wasn't 100% positive what it would do." "You made that up just now, on the spot?" Max stared at Gordy in amazement. "Those were all finished potions I used. I wasn't even sure if they could be combined. It was pretty risky." "Wow," Max whispered in awe. He blew out his cheeks. "Ice ball. You should definitely call it ice ball." "Gordy!" Gordy's dad screamed. "Are you okay?" During all the commotion, Gordy had forgotten his father was still strapped to the chair upstairs. "We're fine, Dad." "What about Baudry?" "He's fine too," Max answered. "That's not what I meant." "He can't hurt us," Gordy said. "Just give us a minute." "All right, but just know that I'm unable to move." Gordy's dad grunted, and the struggle continued as he attempted to break free. "Those were really good knots," Gordy said to Max. "Yeah, I guess. I just started tying things. Didn't really know what I was doing. I can't believe Baudry's the one who's been sneaking around and destroying your house. Once the ice melts, he'll attack us again, unless we can stop him." Gordy slid behind Baudry. The mummy's skin and bandages appeared magnified by the layer of ice. Water dripped down and pooled beneath him. "How are we going to do that?" Max asked. "For starters, we have to figure out how he came back to life, and then we can figure out how to keep him from doing it again." "How long will he stay frozen?" Max hesitantly reached out and grazed his finger over the ice. "Not long. Fake ice melts much faster than real stuff." Gordy walked over to the body bag. "I don't know how Esmeralda got to him. It's not like we take Baudry on walks. He's always wrapped up in his bag." "Maybe your dad did it when he was blotched," Max said. Gordy had already considered that possibility. Having his dad as Esmeralda's personal servant gave her plenty of advantages, as well as access to all areas of the house, including the lab. But how? Gordy peeled up Baudry's bag, searching for any object that didn't belong. Reanimation potions are really high-level stuff. I don't even think my mom has instructions on how to make them in any of her books. "There would have had to have been some sort of handoff the other day at the grocery store," Max pointed out. "Okay," Gordy agreed, "but how do we keep controlling Baudry?" "This sort of thing would require him to constantly be around to smear a potion onto him, and my dad's been back to normal for more than a day now." He chewed on his thumbnail. What could Esmeralda and Yeltsin have used to keep Baudry constantly under their control? Did they somehow have another way into the lab? Maybe through a vent or an unprotected crack in the wall? All I know is that the ice is not covering up his stench. Max crossed the room and plucked the can of air freshener from the table. Gordy watched him vigorously shake the aerosol can and then point the nozzle at Baudry's open mouth. "The air freshener! Don't spray it!" The answer came surging into Gordy's memory. "My dad bought it at the same grocery store where he and Esmeralda and Yeltsin. He saw Esmeralda and Yeltsin. I'll bet you anything that can has been tainted. Quick, bring it to me." Gordy pulled out his bottle of detection spray. Keeping the can at a safe distance, he doused the nozzle with a heavy dose of pink liquid. The can immediately popped and fizzed and tipped over on its side. Max ran his hands through his hair. They thought of everything. A woman's laughter suddenly echoed through the room. "No sense in continuing this charade any longer. Now we can get down to business," the woman said. Gordy recognized the strong English accent and spun around, holding the air freshener out like a weapon. "How did you get in here?" Another burst of laughter. Esmeralda's voice was clear and frightening, but Gordy could not locate where she was hiding. "We've been here for a while now, watching you sleep, rummaging through your personal effects." Max grabbed Gordy's sleeve and pointed to where Baudry stood frozen. "The mummy," he whispered. "What about him?" Gordy whispered back. "He's talking." Baudry's jaw appeared to move along with every word Esmeralda spoke. "I watched you make that brilliant ice concoction just now. That's far too difficult for a simple dram to master. Gordy felt his stomach churn as the two of them walked across the room and stood in front of Baudry. Well, hello there, children. Are we having fun yet? Baudry asked with Esmeralda's voice. Yuck, Max retched. You didn't tell me Esmeralda was a corpse. Baudry's eye focused on Max. Very cute, but the mummy is just a device. One of many I have at my disposal. Then where are you really? Gordy asked. Esmeralda clucked her tongue. Don't you worry. We are in close proximity of the house. What do you want? Gordy demanded. You know what we want, Esmeralda answered, but you've hidden it well. This could have been so much easier. We've stayed longer than we would have hoped to in this dreadful neighborhood. You want the potion, Gordy said. I want the eternity elixir. Now be a good chap and go and fetch it for us. The eternity elixir? Gordy had never heard that name before. We're not giving you anything, he said. The ice is melting, Esmeralda purred, and Baudry's surprisingly strong considering how rotten he's become. Then we'll just have to kill him, Max pounded his fist into his hand. He's already dead, but if you do manage to reverse the reanimation spell, we have plenty of other means to accomplish our goal. If that was the case, why didn't you try something else to begin with? Why did you sneak around? Max asked. Baudry's jaw creaked as he fought against the ice to look at Max. Because none of you were to be involved. We didn't wish to harm you. You were not the enemy, but all that changed when you decided to meddle. It's gone, Max blurted. Your stupid potion. Gordy burned it all up. Esmeralda's laughter was loud and boisterous, but Baudry's mouth only opened a fraction, his teeth clomping together clumsily. Burned it? You're good, Gordy Stitzer, but not that good. Max is right, Gordy said. I was trying to run a test and the whole thing went up into flames. Bring it to me, Esmeralda commanded. Are you deaf? Max shouted. There's nothing to bring. Insolent little brats. Baudry's hand suddenly shot out, shattering the ice. His bony fingers closed around Max's arm. Twisting and straining against his frozen prison, Baudry forced the ice to break away from his neck and chest. Then, as his other arm came loose, the mummy clawed the rest of the ice off his body. Max tried to pull away, but Baudry wouldn't release him. Gordy dove at the mummy's hand, but the grip was too tight. No dram could have destroyed the eternity elixir. Now bring it to me, or I will do horrible things to this boy. From upstairs there was a crash of glass in the kitchen, more footsteps thundering on the floor, and then, Gordy! Gordy's dad shouted. Something's coming downstairs. End of chapter 26.